Hello everybody and welcome to my personal hero's journey. My name is William and I will be walking you through the rigorous process that it took me in order to read A Game of Thrones. We'll start off with the call to adventure. In my call to adventure, I watched the TV show. Now, watching the TV show is a really fun and somewhat disturbing experience. So I figured, hey, why not read the books? Although with every call to adventure, we have the refusal of the call. I looked at the amount of reading I would have to do in order to get through the entire series, and well, I was a little scared. However, in order to aid me in my quest, my parents decided to buy me the book for the low price of $29.99. After having the books delivered to my house, I crossed the first threshold when I turned open the first page of the first book known as A Game of Thrones. However, as I read the first few pages, I realized that I was in a belly of a whale when I realized that there were a lot of pages and a lot of words to each page. This discouraged me from reading the entire series, but nonetheless, I was willing to press on. When I brought the first book to read at school, one of my colleagues came up to me and I had a moment where I was meeting with the goddess. She was also reading The Game of Thrones. Thankfully, we were able to have a brief discussion regarding the first book. After talking with this person, I was further encouraged to read the series. So my first road of trial was me reading the first book, A Game of Thrones. After reading A Game of Thrones, I moved on to my second road of trial, which was reading the second book in the series, A Clash of Kings. However, I was tempted to give up reading the books after reading A Clash of Kings. You see, it took me 4 to 5 months to read that book. So, seeing as to how it was taking me a long time to read each novel, I was tempted to give up altogether. However, with determination and heightened resolve, I decided to keep on reading, and I read the third book in the series, known as The Storm of Swords. This represented my third road of trials. After reading the first 3 books in the series, I overcame the status of simply a TV show watcher, and I was reborn as a bookie, which is someone who has read the Game of Thrones books. Although I hadn't read all the books in the series yet, I had reached my ultimate boon when I had finally caught up to the show where I was in the books. Now, as someone who is reading the books as well as watching the show, I can compare and contrast knowledge from both the books and the show. You could say this makes me a master of 2 worlds. Now that I'm reading the books alongside the show, I now know that I can live blissfully, knowing that no one on the internet can spoil the series for me. Thank you for tuning in to my Hero's Journey videography. If you're ever interested in watching Game of Thrones or even reading the books, hit me up. I may be able to hook you up.